Modern scientists can measure energy with precision, tracking currents, mapping radiation, even calculating the exact wattage of sunlight hitting a solar panel. Yet when they point their instruments at certain ancient structures, the readings defy logic. Some temples hum with frequencies we can't replicate today. Obelisks cast shadows that shouldn't be possible. Underground chambers generate heat without any apparent source. These aren't myths or legends, they're measurable anomalies, etched in stone and buried in ruins across the globe. Today, we're uncovering 30 of the most baffling energy mysteries hidden within ancient architecture sites where the stones themselves seem to hold secrets our physics can't yet decode. From the resonant chambers beneath Egyptian pyramids to the electromagnetic currents swirling through Cambodia's jungle temples, these aren't just archaeological curiosities, they're puzzles waiting to be solved. And what you're about to discover might just rewrite what you thought was possible. Deep within the Great Pyramid of Giza, something unusual hums beneath the silence of its ancient stones. Modern researchers have detected strange electromagnetic activity inside the king's chamber, a space where the very air seems charged. Instruments pick up unexplained energy fluctuations, as if the pyramid's design somehow channels invisible forces. Even more puzzling, the so-called Dixon Relics, a set of mysterious artifacts, including a bronze hook and a fragment of cedar wood, discovered inside the pyramid's narrow air shafts in the late 19th century. Some researchers argue these weren't mere construction tools but components of a long-lost energy system, possibly designed to conduct or amplify power. Theories about the pyramid's true purpose go far beyond tombs and pharaohs. Engineer Christopher Dunn proposed that its precise geometry and unique materials, like the granite in the king's chamber, rich in quartz, could have functioned as a giant piezoelectric generator, converting vibrations from the earth into usable energy. Even the pyramid's alignment isn't random. Its position channels natural electromagnetic frequencies, almost as if it were built to resonate with the planet itself. Skeptics dismiss these ideas, but the measurable anomalies inside its passageways keep the debate alive. Why would an ancient civilization need such advanced technology? Perhaps the answer lies in lost knowledge or something even more extraordinary. One thing's certain, the Great Pyramid refuses to give up all its secrets. As we continue scanning its depths with modern tools, we might just uncover evidence that reshapes our understanding of history itself. Now, let's journey from the electromagnetic hum of the Great Pyramid to the windswept plains of Salisbury, where Stonehenge stands as one of the world's most enigmatic acoustic wonders. Unlike ordinary rocks, the blue stones of this ancient circle produce something extraordinary: clear, metallic tones when struck, almost like ancient bells. Archaeologists who have tested them describe the sound as haunting, an eerie reverberation that carries farther than expected. These aren't just silent megaliths, they're instruments frozen in time, built with stones that resonate at frequencies modern science is only beginning to understand. What makes this even more fascinating is the phenomenon of ringing rocks, which exist in only a handful of places worldwide. These rare stones vibrate with a distinct pitch when hit, almost as if they were deliberately shaped to hold sound. At Stonehenge, the blue stones share this uncanny property, leading some researchers to suspect they weren't just placed randomly, but carefully arranged to amplify or direct sound waves. Imagine standing inside the circle during a Neolithic ceremony, where chants or rhythmic percussion might have mingled with the stone's natural tones, creating an otherworldly auditory experience. Could sound itself have been a form of energy these ancient builders harnessed? Some theorists suggest these frequencies weren't merely ceremonial, they might have had practical uses, like enhancing meditation, altering consciousness, or even influencing crop growth through vibrational agriculture. Experiments have shown that certain sound frequencies can affect plant development, and if Neolithic people understood this, they may have used Stonehenge as a kind of sonic tool. Of course, mainstream archaeology remains cautious, but the stones themselves keep revealing surprises. The deeper we dig into Stonehenge's secrets, the clearer it becomes that this wasn't just a calendar or burial site. It was a sophisticated interplay of architecture, acoustics, and perhaps even energy we're only now learning to measure. Whether ritual or technology or something in between, the bluestones challenge our assumptions about what ancient cultures knew and what they could do with the world around them. Hidden deep within Egypt's Hathor temple at Dendera, a series of intricate carvings spark a debate that blurs the line between ancient symbolism and advanced technology. Etched onto the stone walls are bizarre, bulb-like objects, elongated vessels with snaking filaments inside, each cradled by a standing figure. To the modern eye, they look eerily similar to Crookes tubes, early experimental electrical devices from the 19th century that eventually led to the invention of the light bulb. Could these carvings really depict ancient lighting technology, or is there a more symbolic explanation? This isn't just artistic speculation. In the late 1990s, engineers actually attempted to recreate the Dendera bulbs based on the carving's precise dimensions. Using glass vessels, electrodes, and an electrical charge, they produced a glowing discharge similar to what we'd see in early gas discharge lamps. The results were startling enough to fuel theories that the temple's priests might have harnessed some form of electricity for illumination or ritual purposes. If true, it would rewrite the timeline of technological progress by thousands of years. But not everyone's convinced. Mainstream Egyptologists argue these images represent something more mystical, perhaps the sun god's journey through the underworld, symbolizing rebirth rather than literal light. The snake-like filaments, they suggest, could depict the mythological serpent Wadjet, not an electrical component. Yet even skeptics admit the similarities to Crookes tubes are uncanny, leaving room for lively debate. What makes Dendera's carvings so compelling is how they straddle two worlds, the spiritual and the scientific. Whether they show sacred myths or forgotten engineering, one thing's undeniable: the precision and intent behind these images suggest the ancients understood far more than we've credited them for. And that mystery alone keeps researchers returning to the temple walls, searching for clues in the flickering shadows of history. High in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley lies a site that defies both explanation and gravity itself, the ancient platform of Baalbek. Here, the Romans built their grand temple of Jupiter, but beneath its marble columns lies something far older and more perplexing: a foundation of colossal stone blocks, some weighing over 1,000 tons. These aren't just stacked randomly, their edges fit together with laser-like precision, as if designed to channel something more than weight. Modern researchers have detected faint electromagnetic anomalies around these megaliths, hinting that they might have once functioned as part of an ancient power grid, conducting energy we're only beginning to understand. What makes Baalbek stones truly extraordinary isn't just their size, it's their placement. The entire complex aligns with natural telluric currents, subterranean energy flows that ripple through the Earth's crust. Some researchers speculate the stones act like giant capacitors, storing and redirecting this energy. Even more intriguing, the sheer effort required to move these blocks suggests their purpose went beyond mere construction. Local legends speak of the stones being made light by advanced technology or forgotten methods, echoing similar myths from other megalithic sites worldwide. Then there's the acoustic angle. Certain sections of the platform vibrate at specific frequencies when struck, a phenomenon noted by archaeologists working at the site. This has led to theories that Baalbek's builders might have used harmonic resonance to harvest energy, much like modern piezoelectric materials convert vibration into electricity. Could these stones have been part of a vast vibration-powered system? It's a radical idea, but the precision of the masonry, where not even a razor blade fits between joints, implies a purpose beyond simple stability. Mainstream scholars often attribute these feats to Roman engineering, but the oldest layers predate their empire by millennia. Whoever built Baalbek's foundation understood forces we're still unraveling today. Whether it was energy conduction, resonance, or something else entirely, one thing's certain: this wasn't just a temple, it was a technological marvel, whispering secrets across the ages in the language of stone and vibration. Nestled high in the Andes, Machu Picchu's terraces cling to the mountainside like stone ribbons, but these aren't just agricultural marvels. Beneath their surface lies a hidden network of water channels so precise, they rival modern hydraulic engineering. What's startling isn't just their craftsmanship, it's the way they interact with the granite beneath them. This stone isn't ordinary, it's packed with quartz, a mineral known for its piezoelectric properties. When pressure or vibration strikes quartz, it generates electricity. And at Machu Picchu, that pressure came from two relentless forces: rushing water and the Earth's own tremors. Researchers have mapped how these channels align with natural fault lines, suggesting the Inca might have harnessed seismic energy intentionally. As water surged through the narrow ducts, it would have compressed the quartz-rich granite, potentially creating weak electrical currents. The terraces themselves could have acted as amplifiers, their step design channeling vibrations upward like a natural resonator. Even today, instruments detect unusual electromagnetic readings near these structures, tiny pulses that hint at something beyond mere coincidence. But why would the Inca need such subtle energy? Some theorists propose it powered ceremonial tools or enhanced crop growth through electroculture, a practice where plants respond to weak electrical fields. Others speculate these currents played a role in spiritual practices, perhaps altering brain waves during rituals. Skeptics argue the effects are too faint to be intentional, yet the design's precision begs the question: how did a civilization without modern tools conceive such a sophisticated interplay of geology and hydraulics? Machu Picchu's genius isn't just in its beauty, it's in the whispers of functionality buried in its stones. Whether by accident or ingenuity, this mountaintop citadel remains a testament to how ancient architects may have manipulated the very energy of the earth beneath their feet. The ancient fortress of Ollantaytambo perches high in Peru's Sacred Valley, its massive stone walls defying logic. Each block fits together so tightly that not even a hair can slip between them, an engineering feat that baffles modern builders. But what's truly mysterious are the local Quechua legends that whisper of stones moved not by ropes or ramps, but by sound. Elders speak of ancestors who made the rocks sing, guiding them effortlessly into place through harmonic vibrations. Could these stories hold a kernel of truth? Scientists have long wondered how the Inca transported these colossal stones, some weighing over 50 tons, across rugged terrain without wheels or draft animals. Recent experiments shed startling light on the legends. In a 2019 lab study, researchers demonstrated how ultrasonic vibrations can reduce friction between heavy objects and surfaces, essentially making them float for short distances. This phenomenon, called acoustic levitation, isn't science fiction, it's physics. And at Ollantaytambo, the unique pink granite used in construction contains high levels of quartz, a mineral known to vibrate at precise frequencies when exposed to sound waves. Even more compelling, the site's architecture itself seems designed to amplify sound. The terraced walls and angled platforms create natural echo chambers where rhythmic drumming or chanting might have generated standing waves powerful enough to reduce the stone's effective weight. Indigenous oral histories describe rituals where shamans used drums and chants to soften the rocks, a detail that aligns eerily with modern acoustic science. Skeptics argue that sonic levitation at this scale remains unproven, but the evidence piles up like the stones themselves. From the mineral composition of the megaliths to the site's uncanny acoustics, Ollantaytambo seems engineered to harness vibration in ways we're just beginning to comprehend. Whether myth or lost technology, one thing's clear: the builders of this fortress understood forces that still leave us awestruck, whispering secrets not in words but in the resonant language of stone. Far from the towering pyramids and resonant stone circles, a far smaller but no less baffling artifact sits quietly in a museum, the Baghdad Battery. Unearthed in Iraq in the 1930s, this unassuming clay jar, roughly the size of a vase, contains a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and traces of an acidic substance like vinegar or wine. At first glance, it might seem like an ancient storage vessel until you realize its design perfectly mirrors a basic galvanic cell. When reconstructed by researchers, this 2,000-year-old Parthian artifact produced a faint but measurable electrical current around 1 volt. Could this really be proof of ancient electrochemistry? The implications are staggering. If intentionally designed as a battery, it suggests knowledge of electricity predating modern science by millennia. Some theorists propose these jars were used for electroplating, coating objects in thin layers of gold or silver using electrical currents. In fact, gilded artifacts from the same era show plating so fine modern experts struggle to replicate it without electricity. Skeptics counter that no wires or connectors have ever been found with the jars, and their low voltage makes practical use seem impractical. Yet in series, multiple batteries could have generated enough power for small-scale applications, much like stacking modern cells. Then there's the mystery of their disappearance. Why wasn't this technology, if that's what it was, developed further or documented? One possibility is that their use was highly specialized, perhaps limited to temple rituals or elite craftsmanship. Another chilling theory suggests the knowledge was deliberately suppressed or lost during periods of upheaval. Without written records, we're left with a tantalizing puzzle, a device too precise to dismiss as coincidence, but just ambiguous enough to keep scholars debating. Whether these jars powered golden artifacts or held sacred scrolls, their existence challenges our timeline of scientific progress. They remind us that history isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's a spark in the dark waiting to be rediscovered. From the echoing chambers of Ollantaytambo, we now turn to a site that rewrites history itself, Göbekli Tepe. Perched on a windswept hill in Turkey, this 12,000-year-old complex predates agriculture, pottery, even the wheel. But what's truly staggering isn't just its age, it's how its massive, T-shaped pillars seem to pulse with an intentional energy, aligned to the heavens in ways we're only beginning to decipher. Each pillar towers over human height, carved with intricate animal reliefs that some researchers believe aren't merely decorative, they could be symbolic circuits. The pillar's limestone composition contains high levels of quartz, a mineral known to generate weak electrical charges under pressure, even more compelling. Their precise alignment with constellations like Orion and Cygnus during solstices and equinoxes suggests they weren't just tracking stars, they might have been channeling them. Modern instruments detect faint electromagnetic fluctuations at certain times of the year, as if the stones themselves were tuned to cosmic rhythms. Then there's the mystery of its burial. Around 8000 BC, Göbekli Tepe was deliberately, almost meticulously, covered with tons of earth, preserving it like a time capsule. Was this an act of reverence or concealment? Some theorists propose the site's energy properties became too potent or unpredictable, prompting its guardians to seal it away. Others argue the burial was ritualistic, meant to deactivate a sacred power source. The truth remains buried with the stones, but one thing is undeniable. Göbekli Tepe's builders understood forces that blur the line between astronomy, energy, and the sacred. What's fascinating is how these pillars defy conventional narratives. Unlike later temples built for worship, Göbekli Tepe lacks signs of permanent habitation, no houses, no hearths. Instead, its circular enclosures pulse with a sense of purpose, as if designed for something beyond human comprehension. Were these energy conduits, cosmic antennas, or something else entirely? As archaeologists continue to peel back the layers, Göbekli Tepe stands as a silent challenge to our assumptions, whispering that the ancients might have mastered a science we've yet to rediscover. The deeper we dig, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't just a temple, it was a carefully engineered interface between earth and sky. Whether harnessing starlight, telluric currents, or some lost form of resonance, Göbekli Tepe's secrets remain locked in stone, waiting for the right key to turn. And with every new discovery, the line between myth and technology grows tantalizingly thin. Beneath the iconic stone faces of Easter Island, hidden from view for centuries, lies a secret far more complex than anyone imagined. While the towering moai have long captured the world's imagination, recent ground-penetrating scans reveal something astonishing. An elaborate network of tunnels and chambers snaking beneath them, carved meticulously into the volcanic rock. These aren't just empty passageways. Some researchers believe they functioned as conduits for telluric currents. The same subtle energy flows that ancient cultures worldwide seem to harness. The moai themselves, carved from compressed volcanic basalt, contain high levels of iron and magnetite materials known to interact with Earth's natural electromagnetic fields. When placed along these underground channels, the statues may have acted like energy focal points, amplifying the currents in ways we're only starting to measure. Local Rapa Nui legends speak of mana, a sacred force that flowed through the land and into the statues, giving them spiritual power. Could this mana have been their way of describing measurable energy phenomena? Even more intriguing is how the moai's placement aligns with geological fault lines, areas where telluric energy naturally concentrates. Modern instruments have detected faint electromagnetic fluctuations around certain statues, particularly at dawn and dusk, suggesting deliberate alignment with solar or lunar cycles. Some researchers propose these monoliths weren't just ancestral tributes, but part of a larger, intentional system, one that tapped into the island's unseen energetic grid. But why go to such lengths? Oral histories hint at rituals where priests channeled mana to heal or commune with spirits, implying a practical use beyond symbolism. Skeptics argue the tunnels were simply water channels or ceremonial spaces, yet the precision of their construction and the moai's mineral composition hint at something far more sophisticated. Whether spiritual or technological, Easter Island's hidden labyrinth suggests its builders understood a profound truth. Energy wasn't just in the sky or the soil, it was in the very stones they carved, waiting to be awakened. At first glance, Coral Castle in Florida seems like an eccentric sculptor's playground until you realize its massive coral blocks weigh as much as small trucks, and one man moved them all alone. Edward Leedskalnin, a 5-foot-tall, 100-pound Latvian immigrant, claimed to have unlocked the secrets of ancient pyramid builders, allowing him to manipulate multi-ton stones with ease. Witnesses swore they saw him rearrange the massive blocks overnight, humming softly as if they were weightless. But how? Leedskalnin insisted it wasn't strength or machinery, it was knowledge. He spoke of harnessing Earth's magnetic currents, even scribbling notes about perpetual motion holders and cosmic energy in his cryptic pamphlets. The centerpiece of his claims was a bizarre device he called the perpetual motion holder, a metal contraption with spinning parts he claimed could trap and redirect invisible forces. Skeptics dismissed it as a rickety prototype, but engineers who have studied his designs note eerie similarities to modern torsion field generators, devices theorized to manipulate gravity and inertia. Leedskalnin allegedly used this technology to position his stones, aligning them with celestial patterns much like the pyramids of Giza. His tools, rusty tripods and chains, objects that in his hands seem to defy physics. Then there's the coral itself. Unlike traditional limestone, the fossilized coral Leedskalnin used contains high concentrations of magnetite, a mineral sensitive to electromagnetic fields. Some researchers suggest he might have discovered a way to temporarily alter the local gravitational field around the stones, effectively switching off their weight. His insistence on working at night adds another layer of intrigue. Geomagnetic activity often peaks during nocturnal hours, potentially amplifying such effects. Mainstream science remains skeptical, yet Coral Castle's precision is undeniable. The 30-ton gate, balanced so perfectly a child could push it open, rotates without friction decades after his death. Leedskalnin took his secrets to the grave, leaving behind only a cryptic clue. I have discovered the secrets of the pyramids. Whether he tapped into forgotten physics or simply mastered an ingenious pulley system, one thing's certain: his quiet, sun-baked monument stands as a riddle carved in stone, a testament to what one determined mind might achieve or rediscover. Beneath the towering stone walls of Great Zimbabwe lies a mystery wrapped in whispers of gold and energy. This sprawling ancient city, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, was once the heart of a thriving African empire, and at its center stood a peculiar structure, a massive conical tower, its purpose lost to time. But what if this wasn't just a symbol of power? Recent theories suggest it might have been part of something far more advanced, an energy system fueled by the region's abundant gold. Archaeologists have long known that Great Zimbabwe was a hub of gold mining, with shafts stretching deep into the earth. But here's the twist: gold isn't just a precious metal, it's an extraordinary conductor. When paired with certain minerals, it can generate weak electrical currents through natural chemical reactions. Some researchers propose the conical tower wasn't merely decorative. Its unique shape and interior cavities could have acted like a primitive battery or capacitor, storing energy harvested from gold-rich ores processed nearby. Traces of acidic residues found in ancient refining pits lend weight to this idea, hinting at electrochemical processes we're only now beginning to recognize. Even more compelling are the local Shona legends passed down through generations that speak of Emhirapiri, a term loosely translated as sky fire. Oral histories describe rituals where priests channeled this force using golden artifacts, sometimes even illuminating darkened chambers. Could these stories preserve fragmented memories of forgotten technology? Skeptics argue that the tower was likely a grain silo or royal granary, yet its solid construction and lack of storage features make this explanation feel incomplete. The deeper we look, the more the pieces align. Great Zimbabwe's gold veins, its enigmatic tower, and the persistent myths of energy manipulation suggest a civilization that might have tapped into the Earth's hidden currents. Whether as ritual or rudimentary science, the echoes of this knowledge linger not in written records, but in the silent geometry of stones that once hummed with possibility. And that's a mystery worth unraveling. Beneath the sun-baked streets of modern Malta lies one of history's most acoustically perfect anomalies, the Hal Saflieni hypogeum. Carved from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago, this labyrinthine underground temple isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a sonic time capsule. Step inside its shadowed chambers, and the air itself seems to vibrate with something beyond mere echoes. Certain frequencies here don't just reverberate, they amplify to an almost uncanny intensity, as if the builders engineered the very walls to sing. At the heart of this complex sits the so-called Oracle Room, a small, oval chamber where sound behaves unlike anywhere else on Earth. When a deep male voice resonates at precisely 110 Hz, a frequency near the lower threshold of human hearing, the room's architecture transforms it into a visceral, full-body experience. Researchers measuring this effect found the sound waves align with the chamber's dimensions so perfectly that they create standing waves, causing the air pressure to pulse rhythmically against the skin. To stand inside during this phenomenon isn't just to hear sound, it's to feel it in your bones. What's truly startling is how this frequency mirrors discoveries in modern neuroscience. Studies show 110 Hz can trigger shifts in brain activity, dampening rational thought while enhancing emotional and creative centers, essentially inducing a mild trance state. Was this accidental, or did the hypogeum's creators understand sound's power to alter consciousness? Local folklore speaks of rituals where priests channeled divine messages in these chambers, their voices guided by the stone. Even more intriguing are the temple's numerous carvings of spirals, a symbol often linked to vibrational energy in ancient cultures worldwide. Theories about the hypogeum's purpose range from the pragmatic to the profound. Some suggest it was a Neolithic healing center where specific tones were used to restore balance to the body, a concept echoed in modern sound therapy. Others propose it functioned as an ancient frequency library, preserving sacred harmonics for ceremonial use. Skeptics argue the acoustics are merely a byproduct of its funerary function, yet the precision of the carvings and chamber placements hints at something far more intentional. One thing's certain, the hypogeum's builders wielded sound as deliberately as a sculptor wields a chisel. Whether for healing, ritual, or communion with the unseen, they left behind a testament to humanity's timeless fascination with vibration's hidden power, a mystery etched not in words but in the resonant silence between stones. And even now, millennia later, those stones still hum with questions we've only begun to hear. Stretching across Peru's arid Nazca Desert, the colossal geoglyphs etched into the earth have long been dismissed as ceremonial pathways or ancient astronomical markers. But a radical new theory suggests these lines might have been something far more extraordinary, a massive plasma-generating system. At the heart of this idea lies a peculiar feature of the terrain itself. The soil here is saturated with quartz, a mineral that doesn't just sparkle, it conducts. When subjected to pressure or friction, quartz generates piezoelectric charges, and some researchers argue the Nazca people could have harnessed this property to create something almost otherworldly. Luminous plasma discharges visible across the desert at night. The science behind this isn't science fiction. Modern experiments show that when high-voltage electricity passes through quartz-rich ground, it ionizes the surrounding air, creating glowing filaments of plasma, essentially man-made lightning. The Nazca lines, with their precise grooves carved into this conductive substrate, might have functioned like giant electrodes, channeling energy from subterranean water currents or even seismic activity. Even more intriguing, local legends speak of sky rivers and celestial fire, witnessed by ancestors' descriptions eerily reminiscent of plasma phenomena. Could there be a connection? Researchers point to the geoglyphs' bizarre shapes, not just animals and spirals, but zigzagging patterns and abrupt angular lines. These designs mirror the branching paths of electrical discharges in plasma physics, suggesting the creators weren't just drawing symbols, they might have been mapping energy behavior. Skeptics, of course, question how an ancient culture could manipulate such forces without modern tools. But the evidence is literally underfoot. The quartz-laden soil, the geoglyph's strategic placement along natural electrical pathways, and the lingering oral histories all hint at a forgotten interplay between earth and sky. What's compelling is how this theory bridges archaeology and cutting-edge physics. Laboratories today use plasma for everything from clean energy to medical sterilization, technologies the Nazca couldn't have imagined, yet their desert canvas seems to echo principles we've only recently named. Whether these lines were ritual instruments, energy harvesters, or something beyond our current understanding, one thing's clear: the Nazca didn't just scratch shapes into the dirt. They may have etched a blueprint of forces still crackling at the edges of human knowledge, waiting to be decoded under the desert sun. Off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island lies one of the ocean's most contested mysteries, a sprawling, terraced structure submerged beneath turquoise waters, its sharp angles and flat planes so precise they seem carved by human hand. Discovered in the 1980s, the Yonaguni Monument stretches over 80 meters long, with stair-like formations, towering pillars, and what some researchers argue are deliberate carvings. But what's truly electrifying about this site isn't just its debate over human origins, it's the way the rocks themselves hum with energy. Dives to the site have revealed something unexpected. The monument's sandstone isn't ordinary, it's laced with dense crystalline quartz, a mineral known to generate weak electrical currents when compressed by water pressure or seismic shifts. Instruments near the structure detect unusual electromagnetic fluctuations, strongest around its geometric terraces. Some theorists propose these formations weren't just architectural. They might have functioned as a massive piezoelectric generator, converting the ocean's relentless motion into usable energy. Imagine the tides themselves powering an ancient technology channeled through stone. Local legends add fuel to the speculation. Fishermen from Yonagune's past spoke of eerie glows beneath the waves, attributing them to Tida no Kame spirits of the sea. Could these have been misinterpreted observations of electrical discharges flickering through the quartz-rich rock? Even skeptics admit the site's geometry defies natural erosion patterns, with its 90-degree angles and symmetrical channels cutting against the grain of typical underwater formations. Then there's the alignment. The monument's main terrace points directly toward the setting sun during the summer solstice, suggesting celestial awareness, if not intentional design. Marine geologists argue similar formations exist naturally elsewhere, yet none exhibit Yonagune's uncanny regularity. Whether the work of an advanced civilization or a freak of geology, one thing's undeniable. This submerged enigma pulses with a latent energy modern science is still unraveling. As debates rage over its origins, the Yonaguni monument stands as a testament to nature's, or humanity's ability to harness the unseen. Whether ritual site, energy conduit, or sheer coincidence, its crystalline heart keeps whispering secrets to those who dare to dive deeper. And in those whispers, we might just catch a fragment of a lost world's forgotten power. Tucked along the windswept coast of Brittany, France, the Karnak stones stand in eerie silence, row after row of weathered megaliths stretching nearly 4 kilometers across the landscape. But these aren't just random monuments. Researchers have discovered something extraordinary here. The stones generate a grid of electromagnetic energy, pulsing in patterns that mirror the hidden waterways snaking beneath them. When scientists mapped these fields with precision instruments, they found the highest readings directly above underground rivers and fault lines, almost as if the stones were deliberately placed to mark Earth's invisible currents. What's striking is the sheer consistency of this phenomenon. The tallest menhirs, some towering over 4 meters, consistently emit the strongest fields, particularly at dawn and dusk. Local geologists note that the granite used in their construction is rich in magnetite, a mineral known to amplify electromagnetic activity. This isn't just passive conductivity. The stones seem to interact dynamically with their environment. During solar storms, for instance, the fields fluctuate more intensely, suggesting the megaliths might have functioned as primitive antennas, attuned to both terrestrial and cosmic energies. Theories about the site's purpose range from the practical to the mystical. Some researchers argue the grid served as a navigation system, guiding travelers using energy signatures instead of visible landmarks. Others propose it was a healing sanctuary where underground water veins, long revered for their purported therapeutic properties, were amplified by the stone's electromagnetic influence. Then there's the most provocative idea that Karnak's builders mapped a vast, interconnected energy network linking sacred sites across Europe through shared geological features. Local folklore adds another layer of intrigue. Breton legends speak of Corrigans, ancient spirits said to gather near the stones at twilight, drawing power from the earth. Could these stories encode ancestral memories of the site's energetic properties? Modern dowsers practitioners who claim to detect underground water still report feeling intense vibrations near certain menhirs, echoing age-old traditions of sensing unseen forces. Whether as a spiritual battery, a geological observatory, or something beyond our current understanding, Karnak stones defy simple explanation. They whisper of a time when humanity didn't just build with stone. They conversed with it, harnessing rhythms in the earth we're only now learning to measure. And as we trace their electromagnetic footprints, one truth becomes clear. These silent sentinels were far more than monuments. They were masterpieces of a lost science, etched not just in rock, but in the very pulse of the land itself. Deep beneath the sun-scorched plains of Cappadocia, Turkey, lies an ancient marvel that defies logic. Derinkuyu, an 18-story underground city carved entirely from volcanic rock. Built over 2,000 years ago, this labyrinth could shelter 20,000 people for months at a time. But here's what baffles engineers. Despite its depth, the air never grows stale, and fresh water flows consistently through its tunnels. How did an ancient civilization achieve what would challenge modern architects even today? The secret might lie in Derinkuyu's ingenious ventilation shaft. These narrow chimneys, some stretching over 50 meters to the surface, aren't just random holes. They're strategically angled to harness the Venturi effect, where wind rushing over the openings creates suction, pulling stale air upward while drawing fresh oxygen downward. Even more impressive, the shafts align with natural geothermal vents, suggesting the builders tapped into Earth's own heat to regulate temperature. Thermal imaging reveals subtle warmth radiating from certain walls, hinting at hidden hot springs or fissures channeling geothermal energy through the city like an ancient central heating system. Then there are the communication tubes, mysterious, perfectly cylindrical passages barely wide enough for a human arm. Mainstream archaeologists assume these were wells or escape routes, but their acoustics tell a different story. Whisper into one end, and sound travels with unnatural clarity to specific chambers hundreds of feet away. Some researchers speculate these tubes functioned as a primitive intercom, allowing coded messages or warnings to ripple through the city without alerting invaders. Others propose they served a more esoteric purpose, perhaps resonating with vibrational frequencies to purify air or water, a concept echoed in modern sonic cleaning technology. Local folklore adds another layer of intrigue. Legends speak of Derinkuyu's original builders, the Hittites, who supposedly hollowed out the city with fire that didn't burn, a phrase some interpret as metaphorical knowledge of geothermal forces. Modern surveys confirm the region sits atop a volcanic field, its subterranean heat still active. Could the Hittites have harnessed this energy not just for warmth, but to power tools or even light their depths? Traces of soot-free, polished stone niches in central chambers fuel speculation about alternative illumination methods, from bioluminescent fungi to reflected geothermal light. What's undeniable is Derinkuyu's mastery of passive engineering. Without pumps or electric fans, its designers leveraged physics and geology to create a self-sustaining refuge. Whether as a wartime hideout or a sacred subterranean sanctuary, this city whispers of a forgotten sophistication, one that turned the very earth into a living, breathing machine. And as we map its shadowed corridors, each discovery peels back another layer of mystery, revealing how deeply our ancestors understood the invisible forces woven into the world around them. High above the city of Cusco, the massive zigzagging walls of Sacsayhuaman cling defiantly to the mountainside, a fortress so indestructible, Spanish conquistadors assumed it must have been built by giants. The stones here don't just fit together, they dance. Each multi-ton block locks into its neighbors with such precision that not even a blade of grass can slip between them. But what's truly astonishing isn't just the craftsmanship, it's how these walls have shrugged off centuries of earthquakes that leveled modern buildings around them. The secret, a design so advanced, engineers are only now beginning to decode its genius. At first glance, the jagged, sawtooth pattern seems purely defensive, but seismologists point to something far more sophisticated. Unlike rigid modern structures, Sacsayhuaman's interlocking stones move with tremors, flexing like a living puzzle. The slight gaps between blocks act as microscopic shock absorbers, dissipating seismic energy harmlessly into the ground. Laboratory tests with scale models confirm this ancient technique reduces quake damage by nearly 80%. a revelation that's inspiring earthquake-resistant designs today. Yet the real mystery lies in how the Inca achieved such precision without metal tools or mortar. Some theorists suggest they used vibrational tuning, tapping stones with hammers until they resonated at complementary frequencies, ensuring a perfect fit. Then there's the sound. Stand near the walls at dawn and you might hear it, an eerie, high-pitched hum lingering in the thin mountain air. Researchers measuring these acoustic properties found the stones amplify certain frequencies, particularly in the ultrasonic range. Local guides whisper that priests once used these vibrations in rituals, channeling them to calm the earth during tremors. Inca legends support this, speaking of Amaru, a serpent deity who embodied seismic forces, and Yatirish shamans who could sing to the mountains to quiet their shaking. Could these stories encode forgotten knowledge of harmonic resonance as a form of geological engineering? Modern skeptics argue the acoustics are coincidental, but the evidence is etched into the landscape. Sacsayhuaman sits atop a network of natural fault lines, yet it remains untouched while newer constructions crumble. Whether by accident or intent, the fortress stands as a testament to a civilization that didn't just build against nature. They conversed with it, crafting stone into a language of survival. And as engineers scramble to replicate its secrets, one truth becomes clear. Sometimes the most advanced technology isn't made of steel and circuits. It's carved from the bones of the earth itself, whispering across centuries to those willing to listen. Beneath the towering pyramid of the feathered serpent in Teotihuacan, archaeologists made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community: vast pools of liquid mercury, shimmering like silver ghosts in the subterranean darkness. This wasn't a spill or an accident. The toxic metal had been deliberately placed there, sealed beneath the ancient city's sacred grounds. But why would a civilization from 2,000 years ago go to such lengths to harness a substance so dangerous and so eerily conductive? Mercury's unique properties make it unlike any other metal on Earth. It flows like water yet conducts electricity like copper, and when spun or agitated, it generates electromagnetic fields. In modern labs, we use it in everything from thermometers to high-voltage switches, but Teotihuacan's builders clearly had other plans. Some researchers speculate the mercury formed part of a massive energy device, possibly a prototype of the legendary Vedic mercury vortex engines described in ancient Indian texts. These texts speak of Vamana's mythical flying machines powered by rotating mercury, creating thrust through electromagnetic propulsion. Could Teotihuacan's architects have tapped into similar principles? The parallels are too striking to ignore. Beneath the pyramid, sensors have detected unusual electromagnetic fluctuations near the mercury deposits, hinting at residual energy patterns. Even more compelling is the pyramid's alignment with other global sites where mercury has been found in ritual contexts, from China's terracotta warriors to Mesoamerican tombs. It's as if these distant cultures shared fragments of a lost science, one that understood mercury not just as a symbol of divinity, but as a tangible force waiting to be unlocked. Not everyone's convinced, of course. Skeptics argue the mercury was purely ceremonial, linked to underworld symbolism or alchemical rites. Yet the sheer volume found, enough to fill a small swimming pool, suggests practical intent. Indigenous oral histories add another layer, whispering of rivers that flowed like metal beneath the city, channels where priests communed with gods through singing light. Could these stories describe Mercury's luminous glow under ritual agitation, or even rudimentary electrochemical reactions? Whether as a spiritual conduit or a technological marvel, Teotihuacan's Mercury remains one of history's most tantalizing enigmas. It challenges our assumptions about ancient innovation, hinting at a world where science and sacred knowledge weren't separate, but intertwined. And as we inch closer to decoding its secrets, one truth emerges: some discoveries don't just rewrite history. They electrify it. The legend of the Hanging Gardens has captivated imaginations for centuries. Lush terraces dripping with exotic flora, suspended impossibly above the desert sands. But what if these gardens weren't just a feat of beauty, but of engineering? Recent archaeological work in Nineveh, modern-day Iraq, has unearthed tantalizing clues that this ancient marvel might have doubled as something even more astonishing: a colossal water-powered energy system. Beneath the ruins of King Sennacherib's palace, researchers discovered remnants of an elaborate hydraulic network: bronze Archimedes screws, intricate aqueducts, and vast reservoirs lined with waterproof bitumen. These weren't just irrigation tools, they formed a precision-engineered circuit capable of circulating water with relentless efficiency. Cuneiform tablets from the era even boast of water that climbs to the heavens without hands, a phrase some scholars now interpret as a reference to mechanical pumps. But here's the twist: when modeled by modern engineers, these systems reveal a hidden potential. The constant flow of water through elevated channels could have generated significant kinetic energy, enough, theoretically, to power primitive hydroelectric cells or even electroplating workshops hidden within the garden's foundations. The key lies in the materials. Nineveh's artisans mastered working with copper and iron, metals essential for generating weak electrical currents when exposed to flowing electrolytes, like mineral-rich river water. Traces of acidic residues near excavated pipeline joints suggest intentional chemical reactions, possibly enhancing conductivity. Even the garden's famed terrace design takes on new meaning. Each level may have acted like a step in a natural battery, with water cascading between conductive layers to produce a cumulative charge. Of course, mainstream historians remain cautious. No direct evidence proves the gardens functioned as an energy source, and some argue the hydraulic system was purely decorative. Yet Assyrian texts speak of radiant stones illuminating royal chambers, while Greek accounts describe strange, humming devices tended by priests. Could these be garbled references to electrochemical phenomena? Whether myth or lost science, the Hanging Gardens' true legacy might lie not in their greenery, but in their movement, the relentless flow of water that may have powered a forgotten technology. And as we piece together fragments of this ancient puzzle, one thing becomes clear: the past holds currents of innovation we're only beginning to trace. Standing at the heart of Cambodia's jungle, Angkor Wat doesn't just dominate the landscape, it maps it. Unlike typical temples aligned to solstices or equinoxes, this sprawling complex mirrors something far more celestial: the stars of the Draco constellation, precisely as they appeared in the year 1150 when the temple was consecrated. Researchers using advanced astronomical software discovered that Angkor's central towers and causeways align with key stars in Draco's sinuous shape, as if the entire structure were a terrestrial snapshot of the heavens. But this wasn't just symbolic, it might have been functional. The moat surrounding Angkor Wat isn't merely decorative. Stretching over 5 kilometers, its water isn't stagnant, it flows, fed by hidden underground channels that link to natural aquifers. When scientists mapped the temple's electrical conductivity, they found something startling. The water acts like a giant liquid conductor, creating a subtle but measurable electromagnetic field around the complex. Some theorists propose this wasn't accidental. The combination of precise celestial alignment and conductive water could have formed a rudimentary energy harvesting system, channeling telluric currents or even cosmic frequencies into the temple's core. Imagine moonlight or starlight striking the water, their reflections amplified by the moat's geometry, while underground mineral deposits acted like natural batteries. Local Khmer legends add another layer of intrigue. Ancient texts describe Devaraja, the god-king, drawing power from the serpent of the sky, a phrase that could symbolize Draco's constellation to illuminate sacred ceremonies. Modern experiments lend credence to these myths. During certain lunar phases, instruments detect faint voltage spikes near the temple's central shrine, coinciding with periods when Draco is most visible overhead. Skeptics argue these readings could stem from natural mineral interactions, but the consistency of the patterns suggests something more deliberate. What's undeniable is Angkor Wat's mastery of harmony between earth and sky, water and stone. Whether as a spiritual antenna or an architectural marvel attuned to cosmic rhythms, the temple challenges our assumptions about ancient ingenuity. As laser scans reveal hidden chambers beneath its foundations, one question lingers: were its builders merely stargazers, or did they unlock a way to weave celestial energy into the very stones they carved? Next segment, high in the Bolivian Andes, the ruins of Puma Punku don't just puzzle archaeologists, they defy them. This ancient complex, part of the larger Tiwanaku site, is littered with shattered andesite blocks so precisely cut, they look like they were shaped by diamond-tipped tools. The surfaces are smooth as glass, the edges razor-sharp, and the geometric notches so exact that modern engineers struggle to replicate them without computer-guided machinery. Yet what's truly baffling isn't just how these stones were carved, it's why. Some researchers believe these weren't mere building blocks. They might have been components of a larger, energy-conducting system now lost to time. Take one particular andesite slab, dubbed the H-block for its distinctive double keel shape. Its interior channels aren't random. They align with uncanny symmetry, almost like conduits designed to channel something unseen. When tested, the stone's high quartz content revealed intriguing properties. Under pressure, it generates weak piezoelectric charges, similar to the granite in Egypt's pyramids. Local Aymara legends speak of intercolor, or thunderstones, said to crackle with energy during storms. Could these myths preserve echoes of a technology that harnessed natural forces? Then there's the mystery of Puma Punku's destruction. The site wasn't abandoned, it was shattered, as if hit by a catastrophic force. Blocks weighing hundreds of tons lie scattered like toy bricks, some thrown dozens of meters from their original positions. Geologists confirm there's no evidence of earthquakes or landslides powerful enough to cause this damage. Aymara oral histories describe a great sky fire that tore through the area long ago, vaporizing some stones and melting others into glassy puddles, details hauntingly reminiscent of modern plasma discharges or even ancient atomic warfare theories. What's chilling is how abruptly the site's construction ceased. Tools lie half-finished where workers dropped them, suggesting whatever happened, it was sudden. Yet despite the devastation, the precision of the surviving stones whispers of a sophistication we've yet to fully grasp. Were these blocks part of a geometric energy grid, a resonant temple, or something even more advanced? The answers might lie buried in the high-altitude winds, or in the Aymara's enduring reverence for stones that once sang with lightning. Puma Punku doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient engineering, it taunts it. Every perfectly angled groove, every inexplicably shattered monolith, forces us to confront the possibility of a lost science, one that walked the thin line between myth and mastery. And until we piece together what really happened here, these ruins will remain both a warning and a wonder, a testament to knowledge that may have been too powerful for its own time. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of China's Zhejiang province, the Longyu Caves stretch like a silent, subterranean cathedral, 36 massive chambers carved entirely by hand over 2 millennia ago. But step inside and the stillness shatters, strike a wall and the entire cavern hums in response, vibrating at a precise, resonant frequency that lingers in the air like an ancient echo. This isn't just an acoustic quirk, it's an engineering marvel. The cave's arched ceilings, pillared halls, and scalloped walls act like a perfectly tuned instrument, amplifying sound in ways that defy their crude stone tools and primitive era. What's even more baffling is how these frequencies align with natural energy patterns. Geological surveys reveal the caves sit atop a network of underground rivers waterways that, when mapped, mirror the spiraling patterns of telluric currents. Some researchers suspect the chambers weren't just quarries or shelters, but part of a larger, vibrational energy grid. Certain niches in the walls amplify bass tones to an almost physical intensity, while narrow passageways channel higher pitches like natural tuning forks. Could these have been used to harness or measure subterranean energy? Local legends speak of earth dragons, whose rumblings priests once interpreted, perhaps a poetic nod to seismic vibrations captured and amplified by the cave's design. Yet the most unnerving detail isn't the physics, it's the silence. Despite their grandeur, the Longyu caves vanish from historical records like a buried secret. No scrolls, no folklore, not even a passing mention in imperial chronicles. It's as if the builders and their purpose were deliberately erased. Modern teams have scoured the walls for inscriptions, only to find meticulous tool marks and nothing more. Even the cave's original entrances were concealed, hidden beneath layers of sediment until farmers accidentally rediscovered them in the 1990s. Theories about their purpose range from the pragmatic to the profound. Some argue they were ancient resonance chambers for rituals, using sound to alter consciousness or commune with unseen forces. Others propose they functioned as acoustic observatories, their frequencies mirroring celestial cycles or geothermal shifts. Skeptics counter that they were simply sandstone mines, though the sheer artistry of their construction, every surface etched with uniform, parallel grooves, suggests something far more intentional. One thing's certain, Longyu's caves are more than hollowed rock. They're a fingerprint of forgotten knowledge, a place where sound and stone merge into something almost alive. And as we listen to their lingering hum, we're left to wonder, were these chambers meant to speak to the earth itself, or to futures their builders knew would one day come searching? Rising above the stark plains of Bolivia's Altiplano, the Gateway of the Sun stands as a silent sentinel, a single, intricately carved archway framing the endless Andean sky. But this isn't just a relic of ceremony. At an altitude where the sun's rays strike with almost blinding intensity, the gate's placement reveals something extraordinary. During the winter solstice, dawn light slices through its central portal with laser-like precision, illuminating carvings that seem to activate under the solar touch. To the modern eye, it's a breathtaking spectacle. To the Tiwanaku people who built it, it may have been something far more profound, a solar interface designed to harness energy we're only beginning to measure. The gate's design is no accident. Its andesite surface is etched with intricate geometric patterns, including repeating zigzag motifs that some researchers argue resemble waveforms, symbols of energy flow in both ancient and modern iconography. Even more compelling is the material itself. Andesite, rich in conductive minerals like quartz and magnetite, responds uniquely to sunlight, generating weak photoelectric currents when exposed to intense UV radiation, exactly the kind found at Tiwanaku's high-altitude location. Experiments with scaled replicas have shown these carvings don't just scatter light, they focus it, creating concentrated hotspots along the stone's surface. Could this have been intentional? Local Aymara traditions offer tantalizing clues. Oral histories describe Wilka Kuti, the return of the sun, as more than a celestial event. It was a moment when sacred stones drank the light to feed subterranean energy channels. Modern LiDAR scans of the area reveal hidden tunnels beneath the gate, aligned with natural aquifers that still hum with faint electromagnetic activity. Skeptics dismiss these findings as coincidence, pointing out that the gate's primary function was likely calendrical or ceremonial. Yet the precision of its alignment, coupled with the Tiwanaku's known mastery of hydraulics and acoustics, suggests a culture that didn't just observe nature's rhythms, they engineered with them. What's haunting is the gate's current state. Broken into two pieces, it now stands reassembled but incomplete, almost as if its full purpose was fractured along with the stone. Some theorists propose it was once part of a larger energy grid, linked to nearby pyramids and monoliths that also exhibit unusual mineral compositions. Others speculate the carvings encoded harmonic frequencies, turning the gate into a resonant amplifier for solar vibrations. Whatever the truth, one thing is undeniable. In the thin air of the Andes, where sunlight crackles with unmatched purity, the gateway of the sun doesn't just mark time. It whispers of a time when stone and sky weren't separate but spoke the same electric language. As researchers continue decoding its secrets, the gate challenges us to reconsider what technology meant to the ancients. Was it gears and circuits, or something far more elegant, woven into the very fabric of the world they inhabited? The answer might not lie in the artifacts we unearth, but in the light still streaming through that solitary arch, waiting to be read like a message in a forgotten code. Beneath the sun-baked stones of Malta's ancient temples, an invisible current hums through the earth, one that seems to pulse in perfect harmony with the island's megalithic wonders. At sites like the Hypogeum and Haga Kim, researchers have uncovered a startling pattern. These structures don't just sit atop the landscape. They're intricately linked to subterranean water channels, forming what some believe could be a vast prehistoric energy grid. When scientists mapped these hidden waterways, they found something extraordinary. The temples align almost perfectly with points where underground streams intersect, creating natural vortices of electromagnetic activity. Instruments placed at these junctions detect fluctuations so consistent they defy coincidence. The Hypogeum takes this phenomenon to another level. Carved 3 stories deep into Malta's limestone bedrock, its chambers amplify these energy currents in ways that still baffle acousticians. Certain niches within the temple resonate at frequencies that match the natural vibrations of flowing water, almost as if the builders engineered the space to harmonize with the Earth's own rhythm. Even more intriguing, the famous Sleeping Lady figurines, small clay statues of reclining women discovered throughout these sites, might hold a clue. Unlike typical ceremonial artifacts, these figurines are often positioned near areas with the strongest energy readings. Some researchers speculate they weren't just symbols of fertility or repose, but markers, physical indicators of where these invisible forces converge. Not everyone interprets these findings the same way. Skeptics argue the electromagnetic spikes are simply a byproduct of Malta's unique geology, where porous limestone and mineral-rich groundwater naturally conduct energy. Yet the precision of the temple placements is hard to dismiss. At Tarxian, for example, the main altar aligns with an underground water fault that generates measurable voltage spikes during solstices, suggesting the builders had an uncanny understanding of Earth's subtle currents. Local folklore adds another layer to the mystery. Maltese legends speak of Ilmarak, or the Burning Ones, spirits said to guard sacred springs where the Earth's energy was strongest. Could these stories encode ancestral knowledge of the island's energetic hotspots? Modern dowsers practitioners who locate water using rods often report intense vibrations at temple sites, echoing age-old traditions of sensing unseen forces. Whether by design or divine intuition, Malta's temples stand as a testament to a culture that didn't just build with stone, but with the very pulse of the land. As we trace these hidden channels, one question lingers: were these structures merely places of worship, or something far more profound, a bridge between Earth's energy and the hands that shaped it? The answer might lie not in the stones we see, but in the currents still flowing silently beneath them. Tucked into the rugged cliffs of Maharashtra, India, the Ellora Caves conceal a mystery that defies conventional archaeology. Among these 34 rock-cut temples, the Kailasa temple stands apart not just for its grandeur, but for the sheer impossibility of its construction. Carved from a single volcanic rock face, this monolithic structure required the removal of an estimated 400,000 tons of stone, equivalent to digging out an entire mountain by hand. Yet what's truly baffling isn't the scale of the work, but how it was done. Traditional tools of the 8th century, chisels, hammers, and brute manpower seem woefully inadequate for a feat this precise. The temple's vertical excavation, with its razor-sharp pillars and intricate reliefs descending 3 stories underground, would challenge modern engineers even with laser-guided machinery. Here's where the mystery deepens. Recent electromagnetic scans of Kailas's inner chambers reveal anomalies unlike anything found in natural formations. Instruments detect fluctuating fields strongest near the temple's central shrine readings that spike inexplicably at dawn and dusk. Some researchers speculate these patterns hint at residual energy, perhaps from tools or techniques long lost to history. Ancient Sanskrit texts compound the intrigue. Manuscripts like the Samarangana Sutradhara describe Vimana's mythical flying machines, powered by mercury vortex engines and energy wheels. Could these accounts preserve garbled memories of technology used to soften stone or negate gravity during Ellora's construction? Local lore adds another layer. Craftsmen in nearby villages still speak of Agniastra, mythical weapons said to melt rock with concentrated heat or sound. While dismissed as fantasy, modern science offers eerie parallels. High-frequency vibrations can fracture stone along precise lines, a technique now used in ultrasonic cutting tools. Even more provocative are experiments with acoustic levitation, where sound waves suspend objects midair, echoing legends of Ellora's builders making stone light as cotton. Skeptics, of course, point to the absence of physical evidence for such technology, yet the temple's design fuels speculation. Unlike other caves at Ellora, Kailas's walls lack the telltale marks of chisels. Instead, surfaces appear smoothed, as if by heat or advanced abrasion. Meanwhile, the temple's alignment with solstice sunrises suggests its architects wielded knowledge surpassing mere craftsmanship. Whether the product of forgotten engineering or something more esoteric, Kailasa whispers a tantalizing question. Did ancient builders possess a science we've yet to rediscover? As scanners map its hidden chambers and scholars decode Sanskrit texts, one truth emerges. Some mysteries aren't buried in the past. They're carved in stone, waiting for the right key to turn. High in Peru's Andes, the ancient temple of Chavan de Huanta hides a secret that doesn't just echo, it alters minds. Unlike ordinary ruins where sound fades into silence, this sprawling labyrinth of tunnels and chambers seems engineered to play with perception. Walk its dimly lit corridors and you might hear whispers that aren't there or feel vibrations humming through your bones, but this isn't accidental. Archaeologists and acousticians have discovered something extraordinary. The temple's architecture amplifies specific frequencies, ones that directly influence human brainwaves, blurring the line between sound and hallucination. At the heart of this sonic maze stands the Lanzon, a towering granite monolith carved with eerie, serpentine figures. To the untrained eye, it's just a sacred idol. But strike it gently, and the stone emits a low, resonant tone that lingers unnaturally long, far longer than ordinary rock should. Modern analyses reveal why. The Lanzon's unique shape and mineral composition act like a natural tuning fork, channeling vibrations through the temple's hollow ducts and into the chambers where worshippers once gathered. This wasn't just art, it was an instrument meticulously positioned to turn the entire complex into a colossal resonator. Researchers testing the site's psychoacoustic effects have recorded something even more startling. Certain frequencies, particularly between 90 and 120 Hz, trigger measurable shifts in brain activity, dampening rational thought while heightening emotional and visual centers. In other words, they induce a trance-like state almost identical to that described in ancient texts, where priests communed with gods through sound that became light. Experiments with volunteers confirm the phenomenon. After prolonged exposure to these tones, many report vivid visions, a sensation of floating, or even out-of-body experiences, precisely the effects depicted in Chavan's carvings of transformed shamans and hybrid deities. Yet the most chilling detail isn't the science, it's the precision. The temple's builders somehow knew how to harness these frequencies without modern tools, aligning corridors and air shafts to amplify specific harmonics while dampening others. Some theorists suggest they borrowed knowledge from natural echo chambers like caves or waterfalls, observing how sound could alter consciousness. Others propose a darker possibility, that the Lanzon and its labyrinth weren't just tools for transcendence but control, a way to steer worshippers' minds during rituals. Mainstream scholars remain divided. Could these effects be intentional or just a happy accident of sacred geometry? The answer might lie in the temple's very walls. Faint carvings of figures covering their ears hint at rituals where sound wasn't just heard, but felt as a physical force. Meanwhile, traces of hallucinogenic plants found on-site suggest the acoustics worked in tandem with other sensory triggers, crafting an immersive experience modern VR can't replicate. What's undeniable is Chavin's mastery of an invisible art, one where architecture wasn't just seen, but heard in ways that rewired the brain itself. Whether as a bridge to the divine or a tool of ancient psychological engineering, the temple's stones still hum with a power we're only beginning to measure. And for those who stand in its shadowed halls, the past isn't just a story, it's a vibration, thrumming with secrets waiting to be decoded. High atop the windswept plains of Bolivia, the crumbling ruins of the Acapana pyramid whisper of a time when stone didn't just stand, it flowed. Unlike Egypt's smooth-sided monuments, this seven-tiered ziggurat hides a secret in its gutters. Carved into its weathered steps, an intricate network of channels forms a labyrinth of liquid precision, a drainage system so advanced it defies the harsh altiplano climate where rain is scarce and frost bites deep. But what if these grooves weren't just for water? Some researchers propose the Acapana's true purpose was far more electrifying. A massive energy conductor, channeling natural forces through the very veins of the pyramid. The genius lies in the details. Each stone conduit angles with mathematical precision, intersecting at points where modern instruments detect faint electromagnetic anomalies. When filled with water, especially mineral-rich runoff from the nearby Lake Titicaca, these channels could have created a weak but measurable current similar to a primitive battery. Even more intriguing is the pyramid's core. Scans reveal hollow chambers lined with sheets of mica, a mineral known to insulate against electrical surges and amplify certain frequencies. To the Aymara people, these aren't just ruins, they're wankers or enchanted stones, said to still hum with the echoes of their ancestors' contact with celestial beings. Legends speak of Tepe, a golden age when the pyramid served as a bridge between earth and sky. Oral histories describe rituals where priests gathered atop the Acapana during thunderstorms, using copper rods to draw down lightning into the structure's channels. Modern meteorologists confirm the region's unique atmospheric conditions: thin air, intense solar radiation, and frequent electrical storms could have made such a feat plausible. Skeptics argue the drainage system was purely practical, designed to prevent erosion in sudden downpours. Yet the pyramid's alignment with solstice sunrises and nearby seismic faults suggests a deeper intentionality, as if every stone were placed to harmonize with invisible forces. Perhaps most astonishing is how the builders adapted to their unforgiving environment. At nearly 13,000 feet, where oxygen is scarce and temperatures swing violently, the Acapana's design regulates its own microclimate. The tiered structure funnels wind upward, creating a natural ventilation system that prevents ice buildup, while the water channels likely doubled as thermal regulators, absorbing daytime heat to ward off nighttime frost. This isn't just architecture, it's bioengineering, sculpted by a culture that understood their land's hidden rhythms. Whether as a cosmic antenna, a geothermal resonator, or something beyond our current science, the Acapana refuses to fit neatly into categories. Its stones murmur of a time when technology and spirituality weren't separate paths, but intertwined strands of the same mystery. And as the high-altitude winds howl through its empty channels, they carry a question. Were these carvings meant to channel water or energy we've yet to name? The answer might lie not in the ruins we see, but in the whispers of those who still remember the sky's touch. beneath the towering pyramid of the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque, Mexico, lies a discovery that continues to ignite fierce debate among archaeologists and ancient technology enthusiasts alike. The tomb of the Mayan ruler Pakal the Great, sealed beneath massive stone slabs for over 1,000 years, holds more than just bones and artifacts. The intricately carved sarcophagus lid, covered in imagery that looks startlingly modern, has sparked theories suggesting the Maya might have understood concepts far ahead of their time. At first glance, the lid's central figure appears to depict Pakal reclining atop a cosmic tree, a common Mayan motif representing the journey between the underworld and the heavens. But look closer, and the details take on a radically different interpretation. Some researchers argue the scene doesn't show a spiritual ascent, it illustrates a figure operating a mechanical device. The ruler's posture, with knees bent and hands gripping what resemble control levers, mirrors the position of an astronaut in a spacecraft. Beneath him, flames and intricate machinery like details swirl, resembling exhaust plumes or energy emissions. Could this be a depiction of advanced propulsion known to the Maya, lost to time? The temple itself adds another layer of mystery. Its alignment with Venus, the brilliant morning star revered in Mayan cosmology, is precise beyond coincidence. Calculations show the pyramid's stairway perfectly frames Venus during its 8-year cycle, a celestial event the Maya tracked with uncanny accuracy. But what if this alignment wasn't just symbolic? Some theorists propose the temple's limestone blocks, rich in conductive calcite crystals, acted as a kind of energy conduit, channeling the planet's light into the tomb chamber below. Traces of hematite, a mineral known to amplify electromagnetic fields, found embedded in the sarcophagus, further fuel speculation about intentional energy manipulation. Local lore deepens the intrigue. Mayan oral traditions speak of Kukulkan's chariot, a celestial vehicle said to carry the feathered serpent god between worlds. Modern researchers note that certain carvings near the tomb depict figures holding what could be crystalline devices, possibly used to focus or store energy. Experiments with quartz under pressure have shown it can generate piezoelectric charges, exactly the kind of phenomenon that might explain the temple's rumored humming stones, described by early Spanish chroniclers. Mainstream scholars urge caution, pointing out that the sarcophagus imagery aligns closely with well-documented Mayan mythology. Yet the precision of the carvings, down to what looks like dials, vents, and even something resembling an oxygen tube, keeps alternative theories alive. Whether Pakal's tomb depicts an otherworldly vessel or a symbolic journey through the cosmos, one thing is clear: the Mayas' understanding of energy, astronomy, and engineering was far more sophisticated than we've often credited. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between myth and lost science. As laser scans reveal hidden chambers beneath Palenque's pyramids, we're reminded that history's greatest mysteries aren't always buried in the ground. Sometimes they're carved in plain sight, waiting for us to see them with fresh eyes. And in those carvings, the past whispers of possibilities we've only begun to imagine. Next segment, in the remote wilderness of Siberia, where the taiga forest gives way to rugged mountains, lies one of Earth's most perplexing megalithic puzzles, the Gornaya Shoria stones. These colossal blocks, some weighing over 3,000 tons, don't just defy the limits of ancient engineering, they seem to challenge physics itself. Stacked with near-flawless precision, their surfaces fit together so tightly that not even a sliver of light passes between them. But what truly sets them apart isn't just their size or craftsmanship, it's the way they interact with the very forces of nature. Compasses behave erratically near these stones, spinning wildly as if caught in an invisible storm. Scientific instruments confirm the cause: localized magnetic anomalies, pockets where Earth's magnetic field twists unnaturally. Some sections of the megaliths exhibit stronger magnetic signatures than others, almost as if the stones were deliberately imbued with this property. Geologists note that the rock itself, a type of granite rich in magnetite, could account for some of THI's Chinese letter, yet the patterns are too deliberate to dismiss as MERE Chinese letter. The strongest magnetic readings align precisely with the stone's seams and joints, hinting at a level of sophistication that seems impossible for their estimated age of tens of thousands of years. How could ancient builders have manipulated such massive, magnetically charged blocks? One radical theory suggests they didn't carve the stones at all, they cast them. The concept of geopolymer technology, a form of ancient concrete, has gained traction among alternative researchers. Proponents argue that certain megalithic sites show traces of mineral mixtures that, when activated by heat or chemical reagents, could have allowed builders to mold stone as if it were clay. At Gornaya Shoria, the absence of tool marks on some surfaces and the presence of unusual mineral seams lend circumstantial support to this idea. Imagine a civilization that didn't just quarry rock, but alchemized it, blending natural magnetism into synthetic stone for purposes we've yet to uncover. Skeptics, of course, point to natural geological processes. The region's violent tectonic history could have fractured and shifted the bedrock, creating the illusion of fitted masonry over millennia. Yet the precision of the angles and the targeted magnetic disruptions complicate this explanation. Local indigenous Caucasus legends add another layer, speaking of a time when the mountains were soft, shaped by giants or gods wielding fire that didn't burn. Could these stories preserve fragmented memories of lost construction techniques? Whether the product of forgotten science or a geological marvel, Gornaya Shoria's megaliths stand as a silent provocation. They force us to reconsider not just how ancient cultures built, but why they went to such extraordinary lengths and what knowledge might have been lost in the shadows of time. As researchers continue to map their magnetic whispers, one thing becomes clear. Some stones don't just sit on the earth, they communicate with it, and decoding that conversation might rewrite the story of human ingenuity. Segment: the Newgrange's solar energy concentrator beneath the rolling green hills of Ireland's Boyne Valley. A prehistoric marvel stands in silent witness to an ancient dance between stone and sunlight. Newgrange, a 5,000-year-old passage tomb older than Stonehenge and the pyramids, is far more than a burial site. Its massive circular mound, covered in gleaming white quartz, acts like a colossal solar receiver, engineered with impossible precision to capture the first light of the winter solstice. Every year, as the sun crests the horizon on the shortest day, a narrow beam of golden light pierces the tomb's entrance, creeping down a 19-meter passageway to illuminate the inner chamber in a breathtaking display of celestial alignment. The true genius of Newgrange lies in its construction. The tomb's facade isn't just decorative, it's functional. Thousands of quartz crystals embedded in the outer walls serve a purpose beyond their striking appearance. Modern studies reveal that quartz, when layered and compressed, can generate weak piezoelectric charges under mechanical stress, such as the vibrations from wind or even seismic activity. Some researchers propose that this quartz shell wasn't merely ornamental. It could have acted as a primitive energy conductor, storing or amplifying subtle forces. Imagine standing outside Newgrange on a frosty solstice morning, watching as the first rays strike those crystals. Might they have flickered faintly, charged by the sun's power in ways we're only beginning to understand? Equally fascinating are the legends surrounding this site. Celtic myths speak of the Ashling Sole, the dream of light, a belief that the solstice illumination held transformative power, capable of healing or even reawakening dormant energy within the land. Ancient texts describe druidic rituals where initiates stood in the chamber at dawn, absorbing the sun's rays as a form of spiritual renewal. While modern archaeology often dismisses these tales as symbolic, the physics of the tomb's design complicates that assumption. The light box above the entrance, a carefully constructed slit, doesn't just let light in. it filters it, concentrating the beam over its long journey into the heart of the Earth. Could this have been a deliberate effort to intensify the sun's energy, turning the chamber into a kind of Neolithic resonance device? Not everyone is convinced of such theories. Mainstream scholars argue that Newgrange's primary purpose was ceremonial, a symbol of death and rebirth tied to agricultural cycles. Yet the precision of its alignment defies simple ritual explanation. Calculations show that the solstice event isn't a rough approximation. It's accurate to within minutes, requiring generations of astronomical observation to perfect. Even more curious are the carvings inside spirals and concentric circles that mirror electromagnetic field patterns, suggesting an intuitive grasp of energy's behavior long before formal science gave it names. What emerges from the shadows of Newgrange is a portrait of a culture deeply attuned to nature's hidden rhythms. Whether as a temple of light, a geophysical observatory, or something more esoteric, this ancient structure challenges our assumptions about prehistoric knowledge. As modern researchers measure the faint electrical properties of its quartz walls or decode the myths etched into its stones, one truth lingers like solstice light in a darkened chamber: some mysteries aren't meant to stay buried. And with each passing winter, as the sun once again reaches into the depths of Newgrange, it illuminates not just stone, but the enduring human quest to harness the unseen. Final segment: the echoes of lost science. After unraveling 30 of the world's most baffling energy mysteries, one truth becomes undeniable: our ancestors were far more than primitive builders. From the electromagnetic hum of the Great Pyramid to the solstice-triggered light show of Newgrange, these sites share an eerie common thread. They weren't just constructed on the Earth, but with it harnessing forces mainstream history claims they shouldn't have known. Take the undeniable precision. Whether it's Puma Punku's laser-cut stones or coral castles levitating monoliths, the craftsmanship defies the tools and timelines we've assigned to ancient cultures. Then there's the recurring use of conductive materials: quartz in Machu Picchu's terraces, magnetite in Karnak's menhirs, mercury beneath Teotihuacan, all substances modern science confirms can generate, store, or amplify energy. And let's not forget the acoustics. Chavan de Huanta's mind-altering frequencies, the hypogeum's resonant chambers, Stonehenge's ringing bluestones, each suggests a sophisticated grasp of vibration as both tool and technology. But what does this mosaic of anomalies mean? Perhaps these weren't just isolated feats, but fragments of a forgotten global science, a time when spirituality and physics intertwined. Imagine civilizations that saw no divide between the sacred and the scientific, who understood the Earth's pulse not through equations, but through intuition and observation. Maybe they didn't just build temples, they crafted interfaces, turning stone into transmitters, water into conductors, and sunlight into a tangible force. Of course, skeptics will argue coincidence, that natural geology or ceremonial needs explain these phenomena. But when the same patterns emerge across continents and epochs, coincidence strains credibility. The real question isn't if these cultures tapped into advanced knowledge, but how much has been lost to time, war, or the slow erosion of oral traditions. So where do we go from here? History isn't a closed book, it's a living conversation. Every anomalous carving, every unexplained voltage spike invites us to rethink what we've been taught. Maybe the answers lie in overlooked texts, buried ruins, or even the comments below. Seriously, drop your wildest theories. Was it alien tech, a golden age of human innovation? Something even stranger, one thing certain: these sites aren't just relics. They're challenges, silent dare from the past, urging us to look deeper, question harder, and remember that the line between myth and science is often thinner than we think. The stones have whispered their clues. Now it's our turn to listen.